Hello all. Today we will be discussing about the employee survey and empowerment of the module 3. Next topic in your module 3. So first one, that is employee survey. Here, conducting an employee survey is not a new concept. For decades, employee opinion surveys have been a part of organizations' culture. It's normal to skeptical about their effectiveness in today's dynamic and work environment. Employee surveys can have the way towards successful and fulfillment of goals, and they are effective culture. When you use the right tools, the right metrics, ask the right questions at the right time, an employee survey can be most powerful tool to reveal employees' insights. Employee surveys help managers to assess the current state of employee relations, identify trends, measure the effectiveness of program implementation, identify needed improvements, and increase communication effectiveness. The success of the survey is directly related to the quality of the planning. An organization should not plan, develop, and administer the survey unless managers are willing to use the results and work towards empowering their employees. The first step is for the Quality Council to create a multifunctional team with the responsibilities as previously described. In addition, the team will determine the objective and develop a plan to communicate results, encourage root cause analysis, and encourage connective action. Next, the team will develop the survey instrument using in-house and external enterprise and expertise. Identifiers such as age, seniority, work group, yeah, work unit are absolutely essential to analyze the results. A Likert response scale, which we will study in next slide, usually provides usable results if the entire population is not surveyed. Then the sampling procedure should be determined for initial and subsequent ones. The survey is pilot tested and revised as needed. Pilot testing is when a particular survey is produced, it will be it will be tested for its effectiveness and and the feedback control where effective feedback is received from from the surveys itself. Other constituents to address in the survey include personality characteristics, management styles, job attributes, and the work. Examples of these include personality characteristics, which are anxiety, self esteem in the organization, and ability to participate in the organization. Next example is management styles. Here, in this consideration of subordinates, initiating structure, commitment to quality. Next example includes job attributes, the job satisfaction, social support at work, and co-workers' commitment to quality. And last example is the work, which is task variety, autonomy, and the importance. After developing the survey instrument, the next step, that is third step, is to administer the survey. This activity begins by communicating the employees the purpose, schedule of events, and employee expectations. The survey should be administered by an outside group to maintain anonymity. Written comments should be typed with names disguised. employees should be given time to complete the questionnaire, preferably during normal working hours in a large area such as cafeteria surveys and administered around the 12 to 18 months. Next, the results are compiled and analyzed, and a report is prepared for the Quality Council in a timely manner. This report is shared with the entire organization, including the mechanisms for input of reactions and suggestions. So here we will see an example of how a survey looks. Uh, this example I've taken from your textbook itself. Different questionnaires will be there, so as to get a particular um, uh, answer from an employee of how and what the problems exist or persist. So here, for any kind of survey, we will be having some attributes that you can see here, that is referred as a rating scheme. First one is strongly agree, second disagree, third neither agree nor disagree, fourth agree, fifth strongly agree. So likewise, we have we have different attributes, and another one is not applicable. In certain cases where the question is irrelevant, there we will be using not applicable. So there will be particular statements. Those statements will have the ratings, and the employee will have to tick mark or notify a particular number in front of what in front of the statement in a particular sheet given to him or her, so that he can quantify his feedback. Example we can take here is uh, I know what is the expected of me. So if this question is asked to you, so what is the rating you are giving? I am treated with respect by my superiors. So if it is true, then you will be giving higher rating. If it is not true, you will be giving lower rating. If it is not relevant, you will be selecting NA. So likewise, we will be having um, different statements. Each and every statement is to be answered by an employee. So after that, results are tabulated and analyzed. The report is generated uh, based on these results, and is circulated amongst the required people in the organization. Next, we will study what are the benefits of conducting the employee survey. So first benefit is empower your employees. Foster a conductive work environment where your employees feel empowered. Simply filling out the survey questionnaires gives your employees a channel to express their views, concerns, and thoughts. It gives them assurance that their voices are heard and their opinion matters to the organization. And it is very important that after taking this survey, it should be implemented, or it should be reverted back to the employees regarding their survey. Next benefit is facilities communication. Listening is the secret weapon of good leaders, and employee survey are most efficient in serving the purpose of conveying messages. When regular surveys become part of the company culture and become a channel of communication between the employees and the management, it enhances the internal communication and bridges the gap. Also, when the size of the organization is large, surveys become the easiest way of communicating with the upper management or the higher authorities. In certain cases, we cannot communicate one to one with higher authorities, and that is a tedious job, and in certain cases, fatigue also creates a non-adequate survey. So this Survey report or taking survey in a sheet of paper by having questionnaires is the best way uh, to to conduct employee survey in a mass level. Next, uh, the only way to gain an understanding of your workforce, you won't get answers until and unless you ask the questions. Various factors such as employee turnover rates, engagement levels, absenteeism, participation in events, etc., can indicate concerns of the organization. But only by asking the right questions and analyzing the results you can correctly identify the ongoing issues. Surveys reveal the strengths and weakness of the organization. It can be the catalyst for organizational change. Next, benefit is the best predictor of the employee's behavior. To run a business smoothly, it is important to understand and predict your employees' future actions. Questions like how long they see themselves in the organization, do they have an emotional connection with the company, is the workplace facilitating the professional growth to the employees. The results of such questions can give an HR manager useful insights. They can help management in planning their employee engagement and employee retention efforts. It becomes easier to identify ways to motivate employees, increase job satisfaction, and improve the bottom line. So, next benefit is identify lesser known unreported issues. Managing people in an humongous task is a humongous task. A lot of things goes on in the organization that might often go unnoticed by the management. When these underlying or unreported issues go on for a longer period of time, they have uh, repercussions on the productivity and performance of employees. Employee surveys can help you identify these issues and take up the necessary measures. Last benefit is setting benchmarks. Surveys are an excellent ways to set the benchmark for companies. It is the only way organizations keep track of their employee engagement levels, both scientifically and objectively. You can also set benchmarks within the company. You can keep asking the same survey questions to your employee population after fixed intervals. Tracking the answers will help you analyze the progress of your efforts. So, this completes the benefits of conducting employee surveys. The next topic is empowerment. Empowerment is an environment in which people have the ability, the confidence, and the commitment to take the responsibility and ownership to improve the process and initiate the necessary steps to satisfy customer requirements within well defined boundaries in order to achieve the organizational values and goals. Empowerment is to invest people with authority. Its purpose is to tap the enormous reservoir of potential contribution that lies within every worker. Empowerment should not be confused with the delegation or job enrichment. Delegation refers to the distribution and entrusting work to others. Employee empowerment requires that the individual is held responsible for accomplishing a whole task. The employee becomes the process owner. Thus, the individual is not only responsible but also accountable. Job enrichment is aimed at expanding the content of an individual's job, whereas empowerment focuses on expanding on the context of the job, such as interactions and independences to other functions of the organization. In order to create the empowerment environment, there are certain conditions which are necessary. First one is everyone must understand the need for change. People fear change, whether it is process industry, whether it is production industry, whether it is manufacturing industry. The effective communication of why the organization needs to change is critical to success. The This kind of phenomenon is carried out by the top level management people. They should communicate why change is required. In addition, people need to understand the role they will play in the change process. Senior management must understand that people change for their own reasons, not for the reasons of the organization. People who are older, well educated, highly skilled, and experienced are more likely to expect increased demands and expectations associated with employment empowerment. In addition, one's perceived internal control contributes to whether or not an employee is perceptive to an empowered environment. So the next condition for empowerment is the system needs to change to the new paradigm. The system needs to change to reinforce and motivate individual and group accomplishments. Individuals and groups must understand that freedom to act and is not only okay but is encouraged. Other contextual factors need to be considered if empowerment is to be successful, such as the role of unions and the type of industry, whether it is service industry or a manufacturing based industry. If the union environment is not willing to engage employees in an empowerment culture, success will be difficult. So the next condition for empowerment is the organization must enable its employees. Enablement means providing information, education, and skill. To ask people to change work habits without providing them with the tools for change only increases the resistance to change the process. Additional factors that should be considered after determining if organization can enable its employees are strategy and technology. Companies that have the business strategy and technology focus of customization are more likely to embrace empowerment compared to companies whose strategy is that of low cost and high volume. By this, we have completed our today's video. Thank you.